Hey, I promised you guys a video on reincarnation, so I have my materials with me. I'm going to show you the first book that I ever got on reincarnation. It was just kind of purchased on a whim. I have a strange curiosity about these things, and this is what I picked up. This is actually Dr. Grossi, and he's actually a local hypnotherapist to my area. So I'm not sure that this book would even be something attainable, but it was just my first read on hypnotherapy, and I'm gonna read you a small excerpt from this book just to give you a little taste of. Now he did the hypnotherapy on adults. Now there's another researcher that did the hypnotherapy on children. Here we go. This is from chapter 10. In my experiences with regression, hundreds of people have regressed to being insects, animals, trees, etc. Slim Carter, whose regression was discussed in an earlier chapter, regressed to being a frog. The little girl who walked with the earth in Jesus' time regressed to another life and said she was a bird. Those are very interesting regressions, and in talking with people, they have told me, "Oh, I believe in reincarnation. I believe we have lived before. I've listened to your tapes of these people who go back to being animals. Now this I don't believe. I don't believe this could happen to a human being." I feel that it's not even sometimes a matter of believing, it's exploring the possibility. Is it possible? And what research has been done in the area of reincarnation? The idea of reincarnation has been around in various religions for approximately 3,000 years. And there is a researcher that primarily he would do case studies with children because he believed that children's memories are way more convincing than, say, an adult's memories, because children, they aren't influenced by TV or novels, such as an adult would be. So they're getting the purest form of, when you hear these children. But another thing that I found highly interesting about this was how the age of the children. Now the children studied, they are the ones talking about these past lives. They're between the ages 2 and 5 years old, and they actually stop talking about it when they're between ages 5 and 8. I was alarmed by that, and past lives described by children actually were pretty routine occupations, and they weren't claiming that was even unheard of a child to say they were somebody famous or, even royalty. And the children, when they do recount their past lives, they do this with extreme seriousness and great emotion, and they actually will act out their deaths from a past life. And 30% of the cases of these children have birthmarks that match wounds from a previous personality. And what I really found interesting was the phobias that actually were related to the mode of death from these past lives, such as an intense fear of water if someone had been a drowning victim, for example. And then many of the children will show likes and dislikes that match previous personality. For instance, Burmese children describe lives as Japanese soldiers, and they complain about the spicy Burmese food, so they're requesting raw fish to eat. And many of the children that report previous lives of the opposite sex will show behaviors appropriate to that sex, and they will repeatedly. And then another thing they'll do is repeatedly, and I think I've just touched on this already, acting out their deaths from previous lives. It becomes their play. Some of the stuff even shocking to me. If you do want to, start reading up on reincarnation, if it's something that interests you, the go-to guy here, he's not with us anymore. He actually passed away in 2007. But Dr. Stephenson, he's Canadian born. He was a professor of psychiatry at the University of Virginia School of Medicine, a very highly dedicated researcher. He authored around 300 papers and wrote about a dozen books. And he traveled as much as 55,000 miles a year. And he has done over 2,500 case studies. And he's the one that has studied the children from Africa to Alaska. And he would, interview these children as they recall their past lives. And, that this is the guy's books that you might want to look into, Dr. Stephenson. So, I hope this has been a little bit informational for you, and I always found reincarnation, the possibility of it, to be highly fascinating, and maybe some of you guys out there feel the same way. So, yeah, if you dig up any interesting information or any books that you like on the subject, feel free to put those in the comments for other people to learn from, okay? And we'll talk to you again. Subscribe.